Good Saturday morning, Looney Tunes fans. It is I, Trevor Thompson, the self-appointed Looney Tunes Critic, and we are watching a Fractured Leghorn this wonderful Saturday. But it's not just any Saturday, as you guys, you calendar owners out there may know. It is the first Saturday of the month, and that's what we like to do here on the commentaries. We have a guest, and I am joined by Golden Age Cartoons. I was going to say alum, but really, Matt, you're a curator. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had him before, and we will certainly have him again. The one and only Matt Hunter. Matt.
Hey there.
Hey, man. And you are responsible for us doing this cartoon. So
yes.
Why don't you tell us about why you picked it?
Okay, well, I picked it because it is an extremely funny cartoon, and for some reason, it has never had a home video release, to my knowledge. It may have been out on VHS or something back in the 90s, but it's not anywhere, and I think the only place to see it now is Boomerang, the streaming service. But it's a really funny early McKimson foghorn. It's like clearly, the sixth foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah, clearly it's been restored, though. I mean, it looks...
Yeah.
But the thing that was surprising me about this was I had to capture it off of Boomerang. If you look really close, you can tell that this has been broadcast at some point, and it's a dupe. It's a tape of a broadcast version, because if you look at the lines really closely, you can see they're not just lines; they're a little bit blurry, and there's kind of a white outline around those lines. And that's what happens. That's what happens when you get rid of scan lines and stuff like that when you do it professionally. So, this is. I would be very interested to find out the history of this cartoon, because it's clearly. Jerry Beck told me one time that a lot more cartoons have been restored than we're actually seeing. In fact, and you know that better than anyone, Matt. You gave me that Sylvester and Tweety DVD that came out of Japan.
Yeah.
So I would be very interested, because this looks like it's been run through the broadcast system, and then that's what Boomerang is running, not the actual...
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah. Which is weird, because they have the HD versions of some of them that are on Blu-ray. You know, you look at them, and some of them are in full HD and everything.
Yeah.
But anyway, this cat character, you may recognize him. He was a McKimson character that he used in the early 50s, and I just call him McKimson Cat, because it never had a name.
Yeah.
But usually he was paired with a bulldog who made him play cards for penalties, and then he had to spin a wheel, and he was like, "Oh no, not happy birthday, not happy birthday."
Yeah, that's right. I remember that one. I've always loved the inventiveness of Foghorn's little what are they called? Reuben devices, or what do you call it?
Yeah, Rube Goldberg.
Rube Goldberg devices, yeah. It's specifically designed to torture somebody. It's like, McKimson was always said to be a very, passive, polite, gentlemanly, dapper type, and just to know that this stuff probably came from him, or maybe it did. I don't know. Maybe it's the story guy.
This gag right here you didn't see on TV. They cut that.
Yeah.
I remember I saw it on Nickelodeon. I'm sure it played on Cartoon Network and other places, but they cut that tractor gag just because I guess carbon monoxide poisoning isn't something we want to show to kids.
No,
but whacking them with the blunt end of an axe is okay, but you can't show them inhaling tractor exhaust.
Exactly. Well, and Rod Scribner, my favorite animator of all time, this was one of the examples that one can cite when they talk about how McKimson was... I've often said McKimson... I don't think he necessarily was better as an animator, but I feel like he was utilized as an animator better by Bob Clampett. And, Clampett was always putting Scribner and McKimson together in scenes, like in the middle of scenes. They would change sometimes. And yet, for some reason, McKimson didn't direct Scribner very well. He didn't utilize him, and he thought very often that, Scribner was being show-offy, but he was really just not utilizing him in the best way
And this bit right here, I think, is Scribner. When Foghorn's slapping the cat and flopping him, and the funny thing about this is this is kind of an unusual Foghorn, because it doesn't have the usual dog or Henry Hawk or any of that, which had been established by this point.
Right.
It's just, hey, let's try putting the cat and Foghorn together and having Foghorn not shut up and not let the cat say anything. Well, so it's all the funnier in the end when the cat finally does say something.
Yeah. I remember watching this cartoon with a friend of mine when I was a kid, and he was one of those kids that was like a little bit too into the logic of things, and he was just like, I don't understand. If the cat has a gun, why does he need a worm? And it's like, no, stupid. He doesn't have it. I love this gag. He's yelling at him under the water.
Going underwater, yeah. I'll say. Yeah, and the worm gag had been done. If it wasn't the first time here, it's been done. Freeling did it a couple times with Sylvester. Sylvester's fishing on a dock in a couple of cartoons, and he, pulls a gun on the worm, and the worm just kind of slinks down the hook again, like, crap.
Yeah. I'm happy to say I'm very lucky that this is one of the few cartoons in my life that I actually saw for the first time the way God intended on the big screen.
Oh, cool!
Very first time I saw this cartoon was in a movie theater, the Anthony Wayne in Wayne, Pennsylvania, and it was. It's such a great thing to see a cartoon like this in the theater, because you need to realize sometimes we forget these are supposed to be funny, and there's a whole room full of people laughing.
Yeah. And like this, speaking of which, just makes me laugh. This ending here.
The audience didn't know the cartoon was over. They thought more was coming because he just keeps going. Wouldn't even tell him I was hungry. Well, great
Pulls
pick.
Back the iris. That's just
great pick, Matt. See you next week.